really want to develop your leadership skills, not only about how to make decisions, but really focusing on problem solving. Hi, my name is Alysha Randall. I'm a fractional CFO, and I also train new and aspiring CFOs who work in a startup and scale up. And today I really wanted to focus on that problem solving side of leadership skills. So, with problem solving, it's a really good way of adding value essentially to the business. I know I say adding value a lot if you've watched one of my videos before, but when you're a leader, you really do want to have that value add. So rather than just managing the team, essentially you want to contribute to those conversations, to the commercial strategic goals and problem solving. And that is a big part of the role. Probably about 10 years ago, I did Lean Six Sigma. If you're familiar with it, I got to black belt. It's a bit of a silly term, but essentially it was the highest kind of level before you could start teaching. And one of the frameworks that I really loved in Six Sigma that I still use today is the DMAIC. And not only can you use this when you're reviewing processes in a really detailed way and trying to make them more lean, hence Lean Six Sigma, but actually you can use this framework just to help you with problem solving. So DMAIC means there's five steps, DMAIC, and they stand for define, measure, analyze, implement, and control. So if you use the DMAIC approach for problem solving, it means that you've got a method. So if you ever come to a roadblock or you find problem solving, it's not a natural skill to use, then by using the DMAIC process, it's a good way of having a framework to work with. But it's also another way of looking at problem solving. I know for me, I'm very good at thinking on my feet, which is probably why startups and scale-ups suit me. And so I can very easily come up with a solution off the top of my head within seconds when you come to a problem. That often works with me quite well because I do have a lot of experience, and so I have a lot of experience to draw from. But sometimes it's not the best approach, and you need to be a bit more considered, particularly when you can't make a wrong decision. So if we go through those 5 steps, the first one, define, as I said, and that is identifying the problem. So this is when you'll really need to clearly define what the actual problem is. So rather than looking at just the issues, you're trying to look at what the root cause is. So, at this stage, you could gather the data or just ask questions and meet people, particularly outside finance. If there is a finance process, but you're dealing with other departments, it's probably a very good idea actually to talk to the people outside finance to kind of see what their challenges are. So perfect example is, this is very financy, but if you're facing cash flow issues, you shouldn't just focus on the lack of funds. So ultimately you want to investigate underlying issues. There could be things such as working capital. Do you need to work out a way of how to get inflows in faster and outflows out a bit more delayed? Or it could be there may be a cost-cutting exercise warranted. I have spoken in detail about both of those, so you can check out if you want to look at working capital in particular, you can take a look below. The second step is measurement. So once a problem has been identified, then you're really measuring the issues. So you're really looking at each of the issues and the elements of that and working out what is the material issues. And once you understand that, then you can brainstorm possible solutions. So you're not solving it just yet, you're just looking at possible options. So this is a really good time that you can encourage the team to help you with that. And this is what I like to call a whiteboard session. So I'm a big fan of standing up in a group of people with a whiteboard and jotting lots of ideas down. So one of my favorite ways to work with is a team. Ideally, this is something best when you're all in the same room. It's hard to do a whiteboard session on Zoom, but this is, it's a great way of involving your team to help you solve a problem. So, if a problem's, for example, is about inefficient processes, so potential solutions may be reviewing the workflows, looking for duplication, potentially there's additional training that need to be for staff, or you may want to implement new software. Again, restructuring workflows, improving processes, and new software. I've written and have videos on all of those topics as well, so you can check those out. The third one is analyze. So this is when you're evaluating all of the options and selecting the best option. So you're looking at the feasibility, looking at the risk, the impact of each of those solutions, and you may need to consider all sorts of things, not just cost, but also time, the resources needed, so not just financial resources, but also human resources, and then making sure that do these solutions align with your goals, company's goals, or solving the issue they're actually looking for. So you're looking for the solution that both does effectively solves a problem, but is also very practical. So for example, if you're comparing lots of different software and you look like you're looking at the best solution, you may want to compare the different software options. So not just look at the one, but look at multiple things. And again, don't just look at the cost of it, but look at how long it takes to implement, how easy it is to integrate. Does it work with all of the other software that you have with the business? And is it user-friendly and has good support once it's been implemented? Then once you've decided which solution you're going to go with, the next one, of course, is implementing the solution. So this is probably one that you may be the most familiar with. Again, sometimes it's easy to be faced with a problem and jump straight to number 4 and just implement a solution and skipping steps 1 to 3. But particularly when it's a big decision or a critical decision, it's worthwhile going through this framework rather than jumping to number 4 and implementing a solution. So this is when you need to develop a clear action plan and really implement the chosen solution. So this is assigning tasks, setting deadlines, and allocating resources. So at this stage, it's when you're thinking about any change management skills that you need to implement. So communication is so key at this stage. So everyone understands their roles and responsibility, and you help with that change management. There are plenty of people, even in startups and scale-ups where change is constantly happening, that really don't like change. And so in those instances, over communication should not be underestimated. So for example, new software is being implemented. You can create a detailed or get the team to create a detailed rollout plan, which includes training sessions, a timeline for integration, and then what do you do if you come across issues? And then finally, it's control. So this is what you do after something has been implemented. So you're monitoring, reviewing, and looking at the results to make sure that the solution that was put in place, was this the right decision? Is it working? So do you need to keep monitoring it and making sure that it's working as intended? So it's good to collect feedback from your team and from stakeholders. You may need to make adjustments. So either the solution needs tweaking, or there needs to be further training or other different changes, so that you can make sure that there's a smooth transition. So really regularly reviewing the performance, gathering feedback, and again, making adjustments to optimize its use. Anyway, I hope that's been useful with those problem-solving skills for your leadership development. Again, I have got a blog post aligned with this. And if you wanted to do any of our live workshops, we have a series of workshops that we do every 1 to 2 weeks. So if you want to register or have a look at the topics that we're covering over the next few weeks, please do click on the link below and you can join one of those workshops. We try to do them in different times, so we meet different time zones because obviously startups and scale-ups are around the world and these kind of leadership skills are required around the world. So please do check those out. Otherwise, we also have leadership development guides that you can also download for free, and that is a PDF to help you with some leadership skills that you can implement immediately and food for thought as well. And I'll leave the links below to all of those things. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.